civic.
Welcome back, Royals. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having an amazing day, a great start to your week. Hope you had a good weekend and you're preparing for the weekend again. That's life for adults. If you always look forward to something, you will be happy. I noticed actually, real quick, when I vacationed a lot more, I was a lot happier because I would leave one vacation and be preparing for the next one. So the parts in between, I didn't give a shit. I was focused on my vacation that was coming up. So I'll have our co-host introduce herself and then we will get started.
Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Rose. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. And I did see something online about that. People that take frequent vacations, they live a little longer.
Girl, don't tell me that. I'll book another trip right now.
I was
Yeah.
like, I got to start going on vacations again a lot. And
But that did work. Think like in our 20s, we did regular stuff and it was great for our 20s, but we were also working, building. In our 30s, it was like once our money hit and we was used to like paying our own rent and all of that, and we were comfortable in that space and started going on vacations. Those was the best time of our lives. We always had fun, was always ready for the next trip. I think you should, even if it's a staycation, because a lot of us stay in states where people flock to your state to do all the things that you leave in, but you didn't even enjoy in your own state yet. Like, take time for yourself. We work really hard.
yeah,
I think.
reset. Everybody needs to reset.
Did you
So,
do a show on that?
uh-huh.
I thought so. You sure did. And yes, please, please reset. Thank you. So before we get started, of course, I'm going to address it. Last week, I think it was a teachable moment week for a lot of people. But what I will say is that um, there was one person in particular. I only address good stuff. There was one person in particular that joined the live and was looking for the apology. And I quickly let the person know, listen, you could almost tell me anything. As long as you say it right, I will respond. I responded. Let me tell you something. That person went and looked at the apology video and commented and accepted the apology. It was such an outpouring from women. I'm a different type of woman. I really like the compliments that come from women and the acceptance of apologies, the gratitude, those type of things, because it just feels different. Because a woman knows how you feel. It just feels different. So I was probably up till 1 a.m. Every time a message came through, I read it like somebody's going to be mean. Somebody's going to be mean. And they didn't. And I was really actually not surprised. It's a reflection of what Ro and I talk about. We have really good women around us. We don't believe all people is garbage. It's impossible. But that video and accepting the apology really showed that. So I just wanted to say thank you to those women. And that going forward, we're still going to address controversial topics. However, um, we'll do it a little different. Maybe take our time, explain a little bit more. We will. That's it. Let's move forward. Did you want to say anything before I move forward, Rosa? You good? Okay. So for tonight, I watched this attorney on TikTok. Listen, these platforms are great when you want to learn stuff. I look at it for the funny stuff, but I also look at it for things that you would never know because it's impossible, right? It's impossible to know everything. You don't know it until you go through it or somebody else do. But there is now a law that if you go through your spouse's phone and you want to utilize that information in court to prove that they committed adultery, they did any of those things, it's actually against the law. And in the middle, in the middle of court, while you're trying to defend yourself and your position and why you want a divorce or something, they could literally, well, in this case, they did stop the court proceeding and basically tell you, stop talking, you're incriminating yourself. You cannot use any of that information, which is good. because it's the same way that a police can't tap our phones, not tell us use the information. It's the same thing. But I will let you hear it directly from her because, child, did you know that?
I knew, yeah, kind of, because I know that they even say, even with mail, you can't opening up mail is a federal offense. Opening up people mail.
I knew that one. But
So
if my
I wasn't surprised about that then either, because that's you going into somebody's phone. It's almost the same thing.
oh, you're
To
right.
me, it is.
It is. It's opening their that's their property, not
Mhm.
yours. That's right.
But
Hey.
but I'll let it go first because I found a loophole around that. But I'll let the video play first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's look at the video and then you can share what you know about that. I
Mhm.
don't know no loophole. Um, I don't really go through phones though. Tell me in the comments how many of y'all go through phones. Y'all
I
know
used to go through phones, but now no more. I said if you want your feelings hurt and lose weight and all that, go. If you want to lose some weight, go through a phone. Because you're gonna be sick to your stomach. You ain't gonna want to eat or nothing after that. That's
oh
the
my
way to lose
God.
weight. But no, I won't do it no more. It's not even worth it. If you feel like you gotta go through somebody's phone, um, most likely whatever you feeling is right. You don't gotta do that. But sometimes you just I used to do it because I know I used to feel a certain way.
Mhm.
But I just had to know if I was right. Like, so I could be like, I knew it. This is what I'm
Your
feeling was
woman's
right.
intuition was too strong, but you wanted to be sure so you didn't just like accuse somebody of something and it wasn't true.
And they'd be saying, no, I didn't. You just crazy. So that's why I used to want to go through phones. But now it's not even worth it. It ain't even worth it.
I learned that as a little girl. My mama told me if you go looking for something, be prepared for what you find. Otherwise, don't even do it. And that stuck with me. So I have actually not been through a phone. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Let's listen.
And I am an attorney in Texas, so you know this about to be a wild ride.
Now let me stop. Could you hear that?
It's low.
It's low. Okay. I did a backup. Because when I was playing it, guys, it sounded pretty low. So I just wanted to make sure. And so let's do something. I'm going to actually play it. So, Ro, you can cut off your camera if you want to. I'm cutting mine off
Okay.
because I'm going to play audio.
Okay.
So you know this about to be a wild ride. Coming in at number one, and ladies, this hurts my heart to deliver this news. I'm not trying to put us on the spot. I'm not. I just know that this is something that we do a little bit more often than the men. Brace yourself, clutch your pearls, grab a tissue for the tears. It is now illegal to go through your husband's phone. And this is for every ear that can hear me. This is not just a Texas issue. This is also a federal crime. The Federal Wiretap Act states it is unlawful to intercept any wire, oral, or electronic communication. It is also unlawful to disclose the contents of the wire, oral, or electronic communication. Y'all know what's considered electronic communication? Text messages, emails, DMs. And it doesn't matter if you're in the community property state, saying that the phone is community property will not work. Even if your husband willingly gave you his password, it still would not work. The courts feel that even if he did give you the password, you went beyond the scope of what he thought you would reasonably be doing with his phone, such as taking screenshots of a text message that you would eventually use against him in court. I was in court waiting on my turn, watching another hearing before me. It was a divorce case, and the wife was on the stand talking about adultery. Her attorney then started the process of admitting text messages into evidence that showed the husband was talking to this woman, and it was very inappropriate. The text messages 100% proved husband was cheating. There was photos, there was conversations about the other night. All of a sudden, husband lawyer jumps up and says, Your Honor, I think you need to admonish the witness about her Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination because she's about to tell on herself and admit to a crime. Then he turns ever so slightly and says, I think you might want to tell her lawyer as well because they'll both be in jail together. Judge then proceeds to tell her that how she came about getting those text messages out of her husband's phone is potentially a violation of the Texas Wiretap Act and the Federal Wiretap Act. He looks up at her lawyer and says, Counsel, the fact that you're in possession of unlawful potential wiretap material incriminates you as well. And the judge did a quick recess so everyone could go consult with criminal law attorneys. And sidebar, y'all gonna let these people in the comments get y'all in trouble.
Okay. So I had no idea. I had no idea. Here's the part I had no idea. There was the caveat. I didn't say it before because I want to listen to it. The caveat was, but if he gave the password and
Right.
all of that, how to that's too much. That's too much. He didn't reasonably think that you would do that. He shouldn't have reasonably been cheating, or she shouldn't have reasonably been cheating. Did you create a loophole for somebody cheating? That's a big deal in some cases because, like, if you have a prenup and the prenup says infidelity will get you, your money or whatever, or anything like that, that's where that's most important. How is that not admissible? That's not right. I can understand if you stole it, but if he gave you the password or you share email addresses and things like that, how is that not? That's not a wiretap. How's that fair?
But this is the loophole.
Okay.
Somebody said, you know me, I'll read through the comments. So they said, well, what if you get the text messages from the provider? You know how you can.
You could do that.
That's the loophole. Because you didn't go into their phone.
Oh, I didn't know you could get text messages. I know you could have a call log,
Yeah,
but I didn't know that.
get text messages and everything. Now that I've heard a lot of people do that, get the text messages.
So
But
what
just
if
your
y'all
phone have
argue?
connected, like y'all have to be sharing a line. Are you paying for that line?
Uh-huh. And
But
then,
that's the loophole.
uh, sorry guys, I have an eyelash dead on my eyeball. Um, that is interesting. So I was also wondering if you could, like, if y'all get in an argument behind it and you say, I'm going to use this against you in court, and they say, I don't care. Is it illegal anymore then since they said, I don't care? And they knew in advance that you
So
were going to use it?
because you still went through their phone.
No, like if you guys share and then you got them, because the caveat was they didn't reasonably expect you to get that out of the phone. So if they know in advance, like if you get in an argument and you say, I'm gonna use this shit against you, and they say, I don't care what you found, then can you use it? They just said they don't care.
I still don't think you can. They could say that all they want. I don't think so.
What if the girl sent you the messages? Is that the same?
So if they send you the message, you didn't go on the phone to get it.
Or the
I
email
think
and
long as
stuff,
you
huh?
go in the phone to get it, then you're fine.
That's crazy. That's going to be a really big deal where prenups are involved because that's one of the major loopholes. That's mostly where infidelity matters because you can get a divorce because you want to get a divorce. You don't need a reason. The only reason that infidelity probably came up as it related to court, he say, she say, that could be one too. But if the girl sends it directly, because girls do that, you're
Mm-hmm.
you're really bad at trying to get the man away from the family, and you
Uh-huh.
overexpose yourself, is what I'm saying. You will send screenshots, you will send pictures, you will send these things. So then it's not he say, she say, if it's from the girl directly. Now, if somebody is out and they take a picture of somebody at a club or something like that, that is because you could just be talking to your friend. That's not the same. But it's gonna be a lot more snaps going on. They're gonna be right on Snap. Yep. Because in the event that the girl sends the messages to the wife and the wife is able to use them, oh boy, gonna go and choke her out. That's not gonna be good. Some
That's
of
why
these
a
laws
lot
are
of people.
scary.
That's why a lot of people that do cheat communicate on Snapchat.
I never use Snapchat. What's Snap? Which one is that?
Snapchat is the video one. Well, all of them, but really the video one. Um, because when you do the messaging on that, after the person open it and read it, it goes away.
Oh,
It disappears.
oh, it's the cheater app.
Basically, that's why I'm saying most people that be cheating nowadays be using Snapchat because the messages go away. And if you screenshot it or anything, they can see that you screenshot it.
Mm. Y'all be on Snapchat. Y'all be cheating on Snap.
Like
Y'all
hit
from
me
the
up
use
on
of the-
hit me up on Snap. And
right.
it's on delete.
Y'all crazy as hell. I was just talking to B Love today, by the way. Shout out to her. I love her. And she is such a good mentor. Um, Most people have two phones. If
So
I
all you
really,
gotta do is
all I gotta do is record from one phone to get the other phone. Y'all need to stop thinking that you smart. You can't outsmart technology these days. You just can't. You could
at
be sitting
all.
in a room having a conversation with somebody and they recording it. And yes, certain things you can't use legally, but here's the thing. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody sneak and play it, send a picture. Once you see it, you or hear it, you will never unsee it or hear it. So it's going to have some type of impact on in the way that they intended it to. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. I also wouldn't. I would probably I wouldn't go through phones unless I felt like I was in danger. I wouldn't. Because again, if I got this unlawfully, they were unlawfully going to unalive me or something. So if I have a way to
Right.
prove that, I want them to go away. Like I said, once you see something, you can't unsee it. So I would. Just saying. Well, that's the first one. Now let me tell you the second one. Probably got to play it from my phone again because I don't know why.
Well, you just see if it worked first, I guess.
Okay. You are so wise. Here we go. Let me check. I can't make this up. Mm-mm. It's not doing it. Yeah, I really reached out. I literally reached out to StreamYard after the last one. Okay, let's go on. Turn our cameras off, and then I'll play it as well. Let's see. It is this.
And I am an attorney in Texas, so you know this about to be a wild ride. And sidebar, y'all gonna let these people in the comments get y'all in trouble. So, spinning the block. And you find yourself pregnant by your soon to be ex husband, well, just come on and get comfortable right next to me because we're going to be here for a while. Yes, it's true. The courts will not grant your divorce if you are pregnant. And there's many reasons why. One being that Texas is still a conservative state and the sanctity of marriage is very important here. We don't even have legal separation. At the end of the day, this is a child born within the covenant of this marriage. And Texas is not about to bastardize this child because y'all two want to go play hooky. And you can still file for divorce while pregnant and even have some proceedings. Let's say if there's domestic violence going on, the court will still have a hearing to determine if they're going to issue a protective order. Or let's say y'all in the house fighting and carrying on, the kids all scared. The court will have a hearing to determine if one spouse needs to be kicked out the house. Maybe there's an issue of temporary spousal support or temporary custody. That can still all happen. But finalizing your case, granting your divorce, it's the court's job to look out for the best interest of the child, and the court cannot make those decisions unless the court has jurisdiction to do so, and they don't get that jurisdiction until the child is born. So spin the block if you want to. We're going to be here an extra 9 months.
So, did y'all know that one? Did you know that very ironic the way algorithm works. As soon as I plugged in what I will be doing a show about today, my old video of when we talked about this for Wyoming came up. So in Wyoming, it's the same thing. If a woman is pregnant, remember she couldn't file for divorce. But the way that story was is she was actually saying she was scared for her life and needed to get away from this man, and Wyoming still wouldn't do it. So I do have a video out there about that. There are some states, the conservative states usually, they I don't really think that's conservative. If the person is afraid for their life, I still feel the same way I felt about Wyoming. But nonetheless, um, like she said, if you spin the block and you're still being married, because you can have sex while you're married, you can have a baby while you're married. That could save your marriage. So why would I grant this divorce? Maybe she's just having issues because she's pregnant. Maybe y'all need counseling. Maybe this new life is gonna bring life back into this marriage. Why would I grant a divorce? Let's wait until it's over. So no, you cannot get a divorce in the state of Texas. Now, California, you can get a divorce if your husband or wife blink twice. If they blink twice.
But Texas, I think, is not the only state that does that. I think it's other states I remember.
Wyoming is one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the only other one is Wyoming.
No,
Oh,
that's the only other one we've talked about.
oh, okay.
But I think it's usually the red states because those are called conservative states. That's what they're called.
Come on.
I don't know. But yes, there are other states. California's not one. But we do have my population isn't actually mostly from California. It's mostly from um the East Coast, which is interesting. But no, in that state and several other states, you cannot get a divorce if you are pregnant. They won't grant it. You have to wait until you're done. So, would that bother you? Now, let's say it's no threat or anything. You just simply don't want to be married. What problems could that cause by having to stay married to somebody?
That could affect the child because you miserable because you still married. But at that point, I would just have to move out. We might be married, but we ain't about to be living in the same house, sir. You're not about to stress me and the baby out.
So, why did you have not you? Why did you have sex with him
Yeah.
anyways? How
People do that all the time. A lot of people still have sex with somebody because they're used to them. They don't want to use protection, so they know that somebody not thinking they're gonna get pregnant. I think a lot of people do that nowadays with all these diseases and stuff floating around. They feel like just go back to some.
Oh,
I don't know. That's what I'm just thinking. Like maybe
true,
that could be why.
true. You don't want to jump to another person. This isn't amicable. I still want a divorce. I don't care if I'm having this baby. We just are not compatible.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure they didn't plan on getting pregnant. Like,
they probably had a deal. They want to get a divorce, but they still want to date. I've heard that a couple of times, and I was like, "You want to what?" Um, I think that from the legal perspective, now take the emotional part out, that could cause a lot of damage because what if one or more is facing legal problems, is a gambler, has credit issues? 9 months is a long time. You only need one day to take somebody down. So what if all of then do you get to go back to court and say, look, Mr. Judge, now because we was married, all of this stuff is on me because you wouldn't let me get a divorce. Do the government think about this stuff when they make these laws to ensure they include these clauses?
so they don't care, but they know if it was them, it ain't gonna go down like that. So I think they honestly just don't care.
Right. I think that's too much, and I don't think that is fair because if I don't maybe he took right. So notice she said if it's something that is harmful or anything like that, they all the up that's a separate case. This is divorce court, there's family court, um, and then there's criminal court. You would have to file a case in criminal court for that. It's very interesting how these courts don't intertwine, especially with something like that where so many layers that they probably would need help in those other just like the last one. Notice they stopped the family court and said, now I need to see a criminal attorney. That attorney can't even help you. You got to get another attorney that does that. If you're going to make me do something, these red states love to make you do something that's going to change your life and not think about none of the downward things that could happen. Mm, it's going to be a lot more crime. I'm telling you. Mm. While I'm pulling up the other one, quick commercial break. Did y'all see the post about the cargo truck or cargo?
Girl, yes.
You know what is that called? A cargo
The train? Are you
the
talking about?
train, yes, where they basically robbed it and was taken. You saw, bro, what is wrong with people? They could
That
barely
had to be
even
that had to be an inside job because how do you know exactly which
which car to go
to
to.
go to? And then how to even open it. I was like, that was an inside job.
Right? Um, but you still can't get the divorce. No, no. The divorce is not going to happen at all, period whatsoever. Mm. Sound like the procreation law to anybody? It don't matter if these
Right.
horrible, horrible things happen. We said it, so no. But are you can the family sue you if something happens? Can the woman sue you if something happens? Because you made that law. I didn't make that law.
Right.
Caveat. Yeah, the cargo thing, I said inside job too, because I was like, how did you know which one to go in? And the
Mhm.
boxes was all different sizes. It looked like it looked like about 20 people. It looked like about 20 people.
I was wondering what was they getting in them boxes.
Did you all was different sizes? One looked
Yeah,
like it could have been the size of a TV, flat screen.
yeah, that's the only one I felt like that was a flat screen. Everything else, I'm like, what did they even get?
Our packages. So if you got something, if you got something on the way, in addition to the strike and everything else going on, now you might not get your package because the people that went out there in the middle of nowhere and took it.
Right.
I said, this, let us pray. Let us pray. Okay, so let me tell you. So the last one is, I'll just tell you, child. Let me tell you. So let's just say you and your husband is married because it's your husband. Y'all married, and let's just say the woman has a child. Okay, because the man can't have a child. If the woman has a child while y'all are still married, that is legally your child in the state of Texas. You cannot get rid of. You cannot. You are responsible for that child more than the biological father. You
I
can't
didn't
take
agree
it.
with that. I
Oh,
didn't agree with that.
child, no, I don't. Because here's the thing. I did one, we did one on this before where it was the paternity court and the woman was married and she was dating and he was dating somebody else and she had brought two men with her to try to see which one was the father because all the responsibility was on her ex or on her husband, and additionally they wouldn't sign the paperwork to approve, so they had to keep being married. But she had already had a baby. The baby was like 2, and both men um tested that it wasn't them. She came back again with another man, and that man was the dad, but they still had to ask permission. He had to say, the biological father had to say, okay, it's my child, and I assume responsibility, even though the DNA was there, everything was there. They then they then had to leave and go back home and file the paperwork. So until they do, the husband was responsible for that new child. Men, if you here's my question, Rose. If you stay in the states where the laws are like that, wouldn't you do things more in order? Like I
Yeah.
would get a divorce right away. I wouldn't, some people linger because of different reasons. You don't even want to be with the person no more. You might just be helping them, something like that. But if you knew that it's something you could do that could lock
Right.
somebody else in, wouldn't you be filing for a divorce, especially the man? I would.
I think it goes both ways. If the
Nope.
husband child
She's
is she
not
responsible
responsible.
for real?
Nope. She's not responsible for his child. He's responsible for hers though, because that's your family and you cover over there. The
That's
husband is
crazy.
but the
Yeah, they
husband
do.
and the
They do
man is the
men's. They
covering.
really do
You're the
men's.
provider and the protector. She's not the provider and protector. You're
Well,
the
she might be the provider and protector in
legally,
2024.
according to these red states.
Look, I'm like in 2024.
Right.
Probably is
Very
in.
much so. But the Bible says the man is the provider, the protector, and the covering. The man is the one who God will say, why, hey, why you let her do that? Adam got in trouble. Not as much as Eve, but he got in trouble. Adam, Jesus went and asked Adam why she did that, not Eve why she did that. I wonder, do they tell them that when they get married? I wonder, do they
Girl, that
tell them?
needs to be in the vows. Like,
Or at least when you're doing your marriage certificate, they should have, you know, what the laws are and stuff,
yeah,
because
when you're doing counseling, which most people don't do, that they need to, all that needs to really be known. That don't need to be in a fine print nowhere. That needs to be known loud and clear.
I think that would decrease the amount of marriage actually, because the example that was also given, and you guys could go and look at the other ones that she did. It was a total of 5. I pulled out the ones that were like a wow factor. Some of the other ones we already knew, like if you have a baby by somebody and they're paying you child support, if they have another baby, they can get it readjusted and it will lower your child support. It don't like yours in. We know things like that. Those were logical. But these were like, wait, what? But with this one, let's say she cheats. Let's say she has a one night stand and doesn't know who the father is. You're never ever gonna
I
not be.
wouldn't be mad at the daddy if they be on Snap, the husband. Because that's scandalous. That is really scandalous.
Men be on Snap too.
That's a
Because
reason.
God told
That's
Adam, not Eve. Exactly. He did. It is horrible. It is the way that law is created. And if you were to ask me, even as a Christian who tries to do as much as I can, I make mistakes. We fall down, but we get up. I don't think God meant that now. I don't think he meant that one.
And even if it did, it should go for both parties. It shouldn't just be for the men. That is totally unfair. I just can't be on the woman's side on this. That's
No.
unfair.
No, because I don't care if you did it while y'all separated. The only way that would make sense to me that you should be held accountable is, you know how you try to go get a divorce and the person fights you for it. So if the man been fighting you, didn't want to give it to you because you are the breadwinner or something like that, and you move on with your life, and then it makes him responsible. You the one who did. Now you did it. Like now you did it. But I don't think God meant that one that way, because that just ain't fair at all. How is the person? God is all about accountability. So it would be the person that got you pregnant that should be responsible and accountable. And then think in some states they won't adjust child support or take it off of you if it will cause hardship to the child. If you have more money than them, they won't take the child support off of you unless the person says it, because, oh, well, you're going to change their lifestyle. That's not my problem. Their lifestyle is what their parents can't afford. How is that on me? It's plenty of people that don't have the lifestyle that they would want. I mean, I don't, but do that mean that I get to go knock on Beyonce's door and say, you could have been my sister, and so I think that I should have the lifestyle that you have? That's about how crazy it sounds. Just like, remember when the Matthew Knowles' son's baby mama was all over the media trying to make Beyonce look like a bad person because
she didn't want to meet the brother and all that.
Yeah, that's not right. What is wrong with people?
Yeah, like her daddy did that. Just because I'm the sister, that don't mean nothing. My daddy was out there doing wrong. That don't mean nothing. Yeah, that's my brother, but I don't have to have a relationship with him because something that my dad did.
That's not my doing. Yeah. And you can't make me love somebody through trauma either. You can't. What kind of situation would do? That leads to other stuff too, because let's say something happens to the mom at birth, and then this man gets the baby and don't like it. The family don't like it. They didn't like her, and they mistreat the baby or the child if they get it later. Why would you want to do that? Why are you forcing people where you shouldn't force people? Let's just say that. I get where you force people like child support because you should take care of your kid, but not where you shouldn't. Okay. This is why some people probably don't get married and so. And then I do have a question. If anybody knows, is the law based on the state that you got married in or the state you live in? Like if I got married here and then I moved to Texas later, then am I now under Texas laws for my marriage when I get ready to, if I file a divorce or something?
I think so.
You are? Okay.
I don't know. That's a good question, but I think so.
Because I wouldn't think that people would fly back to where they lived to do that, because you got to go back to court.
I think once you legally move out there, it's probably under that state.
So your marriage is recognized by Once you become a resident,
Mm-hmm.
probably. Okay.
But I'm not for sure, you guys.
Yes. Okay.
Oh yes. Look, I'm not for sure, but it makes sense.
Okay. Okay. It does. It does. My yeah, that makes sense. Uh if I were him, I'd divorce by
For real.
paternity. I mean, he has to take care of the child anyway. It makes people do things like it makes people do interesting things. It does. And they do it because some people super love kids. And you're right. They could be like, oh, I don't want to deal with her for the rest of my life. Since I'm the one that's going to be stuck, since I'm in a better position, then why don't I just take the child, love the child, and raise it as my own? And she could visit when she needs to. I'm not going to deal with her all the time. I'm not going to
Right.
put money in her pocket. Then that's a whole nother can of worms. But why put these people in these damn positions? Some of them, you know what's interesting? The laws that they need to really crack down on and make a big deal about, they don't do those, but the ones where you're trying to control somebody's life and their body and their family home, which government and family don't technically, those things aren't supposed to intertwine as much as they do. Um, why don't y'all start governing each other to behave better? That's
Right.
what we're talking about. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Why don't they do? We need better people in office. So that brings us to the proposition I want to discuss today because we need to vote. So last week on Rose's show, we talked about it was Prop 6. And I had a different opinion. So I had more conversations about it. And I was like, it's some things I didn't think about that I want to discuss. So first, I'll play the short video on what Prop 6 is. Get your opinions and then share what our initial position was. And then I will share the little light that went off in my head. Okay, actually the light didn't go off. I was talking to cousin and cousin was like, madam, did you think about this? And I was like, I didn't. That's why you need to have conversations. You really do. It matters. I think this one is actually clear. I don't know why. Here we go. Let's see if it plays.
Banned slavery when it became a state, but it made an exception. From the beginning, California in its constitution has allowed forced labor as a form of criminal punishment. Today, tens of thousands of prison inmates all over the state are working in a variety of jobs, from firefighters to cooks, for very little pay. That could change if voters pass a ballot measure this November that would change the state constitution to ban any kind of forced work. I'm Wendy Fry, reporter for Cal Matters, and this is Proposition 6 in a minute. Californians are talking about ending forced labor in prisons in part because of the state's reparations task force. That committee was appointed in 2020 to investigate the harmful and long-lasting effects of enslavement on African Americans. It recommended banning forced labor as a way to erase enslavement from the state's founding document. Proposition 6 would amend the California Constitution to prohibit the state from punishing inmates with involuntary work assignments and from disciplining those who refuse to work. There is some uncertainty about how the measure would affect the state budget and prison work programs. Experts say it could open the door to forcing the state to pay more money to inmates with jobs. Today, most of them earn less than 74 cents an hour. Supporters say it's important for voters to put an end to forced labor 174 years after California joined the Union as a free state. They also say the state can avoid the cost of higher inmate pay by creating voluntary prison work programs. There's no registered opposition to the measure. A handful of Republican lawmakers voted against placing the measure on the ballot. Some have raised concerns about the potential cost of raising inmate pay. So vote yes if you want to forbid the state from forcing prison inmates to work. Vote no if you want to keep things the way they are. To learn more about everything on your 2024 ballot, go to calmatters.org.
So my initial, well, no, Ro, what was your initial, or do you still
I
feel
had said I would. I said I would vote yes, but remember I was like, it's
on the
a
fence?
yes and a no. Yeah, I was like, it's a yes and a no, because I do feel like if they are working in there, y'all do need to be paying them more than some 75 cents. Like, come on now. And when I look more into it, like they said with the ones that fight the fires, they get paid, I think, $10 an hour. But still, $10 an hour for fighting a fire or 75 cents is still not nothing. And for them to say that they would have to pay more if they raise their wages, like I just don't agree with it. But the part that I said that I feel like the people that should have to work for 75 cents and probably do free labor, like you can raise the other people's pay, but people that should be doing free labor are the people, gang bangers that's in there trying to bang people up, people that SA people, predators, pedophiles, like people that did things like that. I feel like they should do free labor for the rest of their life while they're in prison. But anybody else, I feel like you need to pay them. I mean, I think it'll even out that way.
Yeah, so that was my initial response as well, was similar. It was that I don't like the way that laws are given to us because you agree. Okay. I don't like the way that laws are given to us as well, because what we get is a blanket statement. And it tells you, number one, the way that they pose it, it makes it look like it's an all or none. This is what I mean. There's also a federal minimum wage, but each state determines what they pay and they cannot go below that, right? Some people get way more than that. All of these propositions work that way, but the way that they explain it to us, they do it so that we will either oppose or agree with them, and they don't give us all the real details. So while I was talking to cousin, my initial response was no, I don't think that you should, because first of all, you're costing us money. You're in there, you don't pay rent, you don't do any of these things. We know some people that go to jail to avoid paying these things and being real adults. So what do you need money for? Here was the problem. So that was my initial response. After talking about it, do I know people in jail and prison? I do. And then here's what I didn't know. I think that when most of us are making this decision, we're making it based on a good structure to begin with, right? So a lot of these people need the money that they have to buy food and to buy soap and to buy things like that. But in our mind, I'm pretty sure most of us are thinking, no, you just want extra stuff. You want the snacks and stuff like that. You would think that you have to treat them like humans because it's not fair. We don't think about that in our head, that no, you have 3 meals a day. Because what do we say? You have 3 meals a day. You got lights, you got cable, you got this, you got that. That's not exactly the case. So it's very hard to vote on a lot of these propositions because the problem needs to be fixed first before we can say what should or shouldn't happen with these type of things. Mm-hmm. Do I think some people should be paid? I still think the same way. But prison, at least jail and prison are different, y'all. And then every prison operates differently too. Mm-hmm. But prisons operate on levels. So I was talking to cousin and I was like, I don't think anybody that's in jail for this, and this should get to work and get a wage that would be able to at least get them the things that they need in there. I don't care if you get what you need in there, because what do you think about first? RAPE, unaliver, like you said. I don't want them to be comfortable. I don't care.
Yeah, they need to be
right. Right. But now let's think about the ones that are in there for that, but they didn't do it, or they're in there for that and they spazzed out for some reason because something very, very horrible was happening in their life, but that's not who they are, but they're paying their debt. Mm-hmm. So jail works on levels. It doesn't work by what you did. She reminded me of that. It's 4 to 1 usually.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So then I was like, why don't they let us say that similar to what we're saying, but in a different way? Okay, a level 1 for sure will make a wage that they can start actually saving money, do more things, preparing, because the level 1 is about to go home. You've paid your debt. So even if you started at a 4, you had to do the things you needed to do to get all the way down. Plus, you had to, those of us that have family in there, you know that every prisoner jail is not forced labor. In in most, you have to earn the right to work. So again, that's a privilege. That's why it says privilege or right. I didn't know that jails, or I don't know which ones force you to do it, because it's a privilege, because if you do it now, you get time off. So they want to do it, but you can only do it if you act right. Again, allowing the person to rehabilitate. If we say we're trying to rehabilitate, if they at least did it that way, it would be easy for us to vote on it. I don't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And gave those other things. Because the reality is, you're not going to be a firefighter if we can't trust you. You have to get to a trusted position to get that. So if I think about it that way, then do I think you should be paid more? I do. Because you have to be trusted to do it, right? Like, I think, and those are the things that will be discussed once a law is passed. Doesn't also reminded me, and you talk about it all the time. That's where our judicial system comes in. That's where our local government comes in, because the president is only going to say, yes, I approve of this. Now go do it your way. Do it the way that's best for your state. And then you want to make sure you hold your people accountable. Every law has all this power. That's how we have jobs. We implement laws. All of us do. And employees, which you know what I mean? Why won't they teach it to us like that, Ro? Because after talking to cousin, I was like, well, shit, my whole perspective changed, because that's right. But that means we got to follow it all the way through to make sure when it hits our state, we right there paying attention to how they do it.
But then we said that, but we did say that last week. We said
Did.
they worded in a way to where you are confused, because I forgot which one we was talking on last week too. And I was like, let me look into that more. I was like, because I'm still confused. Even after
36? Was it the Fincherme one?
Yep, it was that one. It was the
Yeah, we got to
one.
look up that one for your show.
Yeah, I was like, that one. I was like, I'm still confused. The way they word it, it's like they do it on purpose to where
They
you be
do.
like, okay, I'm still confused. Like, what am I voting on?
Right. And they do it to make you mad so that you choose a side and then you forget everything else. For me, guys, this is a tip from me. This is a tip from me. Very valuable lesson, something I didn't even know what I was doing. Propositions are typically backed by either Dominicans. I'm going to the Dominicans. Democrats or Republicans. Do y'all know I never knew that? I never knew that, because that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, do I believe in this thing or don't I? It shouldn't be one against the other. That falls back in,
that's what
right?
they send that's what they send you in the mail, even with the senators and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But still, with them, it'd be a lot. That's why I
It's
be like,
confusing. It's confusing. And we got to see the worst example, in my opinion, the worst example of what that looks like. We saw that last week when Kamala hit the ground in Florida to help, and they did not allow her to help, and the Republicans voted against it. Y'all, when did we get to this space where if you don't like somebody, you don't listen? Or if you like somebody, you allow them to do whatever and listen to whatever? That's not what this channel is about.
yeah,
That's
you
not
didn't
what
like
we
her so
about.
much that you let all your people out there just suffer.
That's horrible. And
Everybody
and
blamed
said it like
it
it was no big deal.
Yeah, and everybody blamed it on her. Like, actually, it was your governor.
And we saw her there. I think that that's very sad. Over here, we hold people or situations accountable, because that was a decision that you made. I can't hold you accountable, but I can hold that decision you made accountable and use it as an example to say where something is wrong. They can also go to school and get degrees and become president. The biggest felon is the president. That's a fact, though. He got all the felonies.
Yeah, anybody in the world could be a president now. The sky is the limit.
I don't understand. Money is the love of money is the root to all evil. It is. That's crazy. I am grateful for the way that my mother raised me, the way that the village raised me, the way that my friends grew up with me. And we shared and had very intense conversations, very young, about different things, because we questioned things. If things didn't make sense, we would talk about it like we was grown, like in real life. So now the way that my brain works is I truly listen to what people say and how they move, and I'm open to things. My cousin is younger than me. That doesn't matter. If she has something to make me think better, or to not, I won't even say better, because I think that people get tied up in words. It's not about it's just helping you. That's what you do when you love somebody. I'm about to vote. And I wanted to, this year is a big deal. And I want to make sure that I'm comfortable with my decisions. We can only learn things if we talk about it. You hear the things you don't want to hear. If you don't like it, it's not for you. But at least you had the opportunity to understand it a little bit better, because they're not telling it to us right, y'all. They're not. And
They
I
are the
think
biggest
that don't make
crooks.
sense.
They are the biggest crooks. Ain't no seem
They're
like
the
they
biggest
are.
gang ever.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it ain't no seem like they are.
Mhm. It is sad. It's really sad. If it were, well, I wish it was a way that they could put this stuff on our ballots and not say if it was red or blue. I wish
Right.
they could, but that's all a part of their campaigning, is saying what they believe in and stuff. But I wish it was a way to take that away, because I think that if a lot of these things was put out there blindly, and maybe they could do that ahead of time, maybe if they in a fantasy world, right? They could put these things out there ahead of time and then have people vote on them and see how it changes from before you knew to now that you know who is doing it. Y'all can't be this crazy. Do you know it is no human on this planet, not your mama? And I think my mama could walk on water in my dreams, but it is not nobody on this planet that's without fault, that won't make mistakes, that won't do things. So why would you want somebody that will intentionally do the shit
Yeah.
to get what they want, to get power? What kind of power, though? What kind of power are you comfortable with having? I don't think these people care. But we are going to keep talking about propositions. And I was going to do a different one, but because the conversation was so in depth about Prop 6, and it made me think of all these other things, that if you've never had anybody, a loved one in prison or in jail, you wouldn't even know some of these things. So you would vote on it thinking one thing and not having the everyday facts.
Right.
That's going to impact them. So I think level 1, if we're truly rehabilitating, if God could forgive us and we're supposed to forgive them, they work their way, down, and they're going back into society. Why wouldn't we want to give them a workable wage, teach them something that they could translate to outside, and then possibly not come back, because now they feel better and they have the tools, the skills, and that type of thing to help them do better. I would want it for my family. What would you want for your family member? Even if they did the worst thing ever, and you probably won't even talk to them, because if it's the worst thing ever, you probably won't. But what would you
I
want
would
for
still
them?
feel the same way. I don't be feeling a different
I
way.
would feel the
Like,
same way.
yeah, I'll be feeling the same way. Just because you're my family member don't mean you get a pass. Like,
But some people don't see it if it's not them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's crazy, because again, that's biased. That's biased.
Well, you did it, so I can't change my mind because you my family.
Mm-mm. Yo, anybody else nervous about this election? Like, I'm literally probably going to take in there with me a Post-it, so I write the yeses and nos. So
I
that
already said that I got my booklet.
You
So I
are?
put everything down, because
Okay.
you know me, I'll forget. I got my booklet already ready. Well, not ready, but I got my
You've
booklet.
been making your notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that's a good idea for all of us, because
They
you could
send
make
it
a
to you in
mistake.
the mail. Yeah, they send it to you in the mail. So when you go in there, you can have everything wrote down already.
I don't have mine. I wonder if mine went to my auntie's house. Y'all, the government keep changing my address to my auntie's house. Mama, was she the first one to buy a house here? I don't know. The one that I got married on her birthday, and I think she could walk on water while I'm awake. I love her. She'll be 90. What year is this? 94? She'll be 95 next year.
That's a blessing.
It is in her own home that she bought with her money, working as a maid. My Uncle George was a regular worker, but he passed in 81. So ever since then, it was just about her kids. Got her kids through school, did it all on her own. So we can do amazing things, and we have.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I honor her. And she would take me with her. It was very humbling. And it was nice to see how other people had some big houses. They did. But she did it like it was no big deal, and they really treated her very nicely. But I love my auntie. I'm telling you. But these laws, they did all of these things so we could vote. Your own grandma suffered through some stuff. Your own grandpa suffered through some stuff so that we could make the cognizant decisions to vote. They could not. So y'all, we owe it to them to take the time. If there's some that you don't care about, don't put nothing. Don't put nothing. But the ones that you want to follow, you care about, you know for sure, elect. But don't just blindly elect, and know the difference between a yes and a no. That's another trick I don't like. That happened to me before. I voted yes and it should have been no or something like that. The wording is not right.
Yeah, the way they word it, they do that on purpose.
And you think you agreeing with the change or something, because it also depends on who you heard talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know. Have these conversations with your children. If your child is not registered, your child can be pre-registered at 17. I do know that Deltas visit schools, some chapters, as an initiative to pre-register, and others may as well, but they do come to schools to do that. You can go online to do it. So this is a great opportunity if you have a 17-year-old or 18-year-old to sit down with them and have these conversations. And I would say ask them if they want to vote this time. If they're adamant about it and they're ready, because you can't stand next to them. You can't talk to them when you're in there.
Yeah.
You know, and if they want to vote and vote on some things they're passionate about, write it down for them too. Have them go in there and do it, but really hold their hand through this experience and have those conversations. Because the laws that we create, we could also be in a position to need those things, especially the things that are on the ballot. It's
Right.
Social Security, housing, medicine, changing one of the laws about fentanyl, all of those things. So join us tomorrow on Rosé's show, and we will be defining fentanyl. I was going to talk about it, but we already did on her show. So we're going to follow up on her show, and then we will move into the other propositions. It doesn't hurt to tag team, but that's what we promised to do.
Right.
And talking about it first on her channel gives us time to talk about it, and then go back and think about it, and then come back and say more if we need to. So it's really worked. I like it. Do you like it?
Because it's making me learn more stuff too. I told everybody, like, this is my first election I really was into, like, propositions and everything. Like, I would still vote, but I would just tell my mama, who am I supposed to vote for?
Right.
Whoever she said, that's who I voted for. But this time I'm really looking into it. So
yeah.
I like it.
Yes, I do. I do. And I am proud of everybody that's taken the initiative to do it. I don't care if it's one thing. One thing moves the needle. If that's the thing you're passionate about, learn about it, talk about it, share it, and that's how we all learn. So thank you very much. Where can we find you tomorrow, Rosé?
On Talk to Rosé at 8:00.
We will be there. So I know we'll be doing propositions. So I forgot to make my notes. See, I had it in here and I just pulled it back out. I know what my assignment is.
Right.
What else are we going to talk about?
Well, I'm trying to see. I had one of my my sister's sister-in-law. I'm trying to see if she comes back. She's a flight attendant, so she's trying to see if she's going to be back in time, because she's going to talk about, she has breast cancer right now.
Oh, okay. So for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
So we was going to talk about that in the propositions. So I told her she could talk as much as she wanted to, but she didn't know if she was going to be back in time tomorrow.
Okay.
But that if she is, we'll talk about that with her. If not, I'll always have other stuff to talk about, plus the propositions. So
right. Okay, that's a good one. Are you supposed to say Happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month? It's not happy, right? It's
just Breast Cancer Awareness Month to get women to start,
go get their
aware. Yeah.
Okay. Well, next week we will talk about that. Sometimes I ask you guys, because sometimes you say happy. I don't know what's politically correct, but I know people that have survived it. So I say happy to them.
Happy to them. Yeah.
So I don't want to get in trouble because y'all don't know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So thank you for coming. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe on the way out. If you have ideas, you can email me. I usually put my email at the bottom. It's definitely in the description on my page. And that's for both of us. You can email either one of us. We will see you on tomorrow on her channel, and then Thursday back on this channel. We're going to play the game Match. You guys remember that game? We're going to play it virtually because I want to see did our lives turn out the way that we thought it would, and then we can do one for our future. I think that would be fun to have a little bit of fun. We need fun as adults. I hope I get the mansion. Okay. Have a good night.